Live and direct, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I can't believe 1 week has already passed. Time is truly flying when you're having fun. This is, of course, Monday Night Live right here on Roku TV. And I'm excited, Dr. Natalie Forrest, because this week we're talking about something that I believe is very apropos. And that is, of course, leadership principles for business success. You know, if you've watched some of our original programming here at the LA Tribune TV network, you know we are always advocating for the entrepreneur. We're always advocating for the free enterprise, for the business owners, for the leaders of the world to go out and make their own dent in the universe. And so today we brought in a unique, eclectic group of entrepreneurs. We have angel investors. We have folks that have been in so many different industries, and we have them all at the same time, at the same place, so we can discuss for the next hour or so, what does it really take to be successful in business in today's climate, in today's environment. And so, Natalie, before we get the ball rolling, Dr. Forrest, I want to hear from you so we can set the frame on why this conversation is so powerful for the folks watching.
Great question. Great point. It is powerful because a lot of people want to be in business. A lot of people think they need to be in business, and a lot of people do not succeed in business. So the questions are, how can we make sure that if you have a dream, if you have a vision, how can you make sure that that vision actually comes to fruition through the years? And that's why we've brought together this group that has seen success through different times and periods. And I think that what makes it so powerful, it's, you said eclectic, but it's a group that can talk through different versions of how to be successful throughout. And I think that's really what matters, the sustainability aspect.
You're absolutely right, Dr. Natalie Forrest. And with that, I'm excited. Let's bring in this awesome group of folks here. Of course, we have people joining us from literally all over the world, and I'm pumped up. I'm excited. And guys, we're going to do this. We're going to go ahead and do a flash intro where everybody is going to be briefly giving a brief introduction. And many of the folks here are, of course, public figures. I mean, we know we have a two-time best-selling author here and so many different public figures. But just for the sake and context of this program, everyone give a brief introduction and share just in one sentence or less a piece of wisdom, or what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of a quality that's truly needed to be successful in business. First, I want to start off with Josh. Josh, please, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Mo and Dr. Forrest. It's a pleasure to be on with you here tonight. And my name is Josh Payne. I'm a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, been in the financial industry for 13 years. And just one of my favorite topics in the world is talking about leadership and how that applies to being successful in business. And I think probably one of the most important things in today's day, I think we hear a lot about authenticity in leadership, but I think it's authenticity and empathy combined, right, as it relates to leadership. And that would be, probably my one thought on it as we get started is that authentic and empathetic together.
I love that, Josh Payne. Thank you so much for that. And let's go now to a gentleman right under you. At least in this program, not literally, of course, I believe all human beings are equal, but just for the sake of this program, and that's, of course, Mr. Deval K, who, of course, many of this community, many of the audience members of this community are familiar with. He's spoken on several panels at some of our big events. And, of course, he's a well-known angel investor. And so, Deval, give a little more introduction on the work that you do, as well as what comes to mind first when it comes to a quality that's needed for business success. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. And once again, let me thank you and Dr. Forrest for having me here. I always enjoy attending your events, and I always feel like I learn more from the panel than I can share. But having said all of that, one key trait that I think entrepreneurs need to have is grit. It's that wanting to do hard work and wanting to get through whatever challenges that are thrown at them. Because as any successful entrepreneur will tell you, things are going to get hard. It's going to get difficult. And you're going to have to push your way through that to get to success. Success doesn't come easy. And having that grit, I think, is really what's going to guide you to success. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you so much, Duvall. And, back after popular demand, you guys asked for him. He was such a big hit last week that we worked something out to bring him back on again. Of course, that's Mr. Ori Spado, who has tens of millions of views all over YouTube and is, of course, the best-selling author of this remarkable book, The Accidental Gangster. So, Ori, you've had such a unique life. And one thing that people know after they read your book is that you've been in so many different business ventures and you've reached multiple 7, 8, 9 figures over the course of your career and over the course of your life. And, to say you've had a unique background would be an understatement. But for those that may not know, please give a brief introduction and, of course, share what is the number one quality you believe is needed to have business success. Orlando Spado, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mo. The number one success that people need, you got to be relentless to what you want. You have to be ruthless. Yeah, you're not going to like this because I'm going to tell you the truth. All right? If you're serious and people really want to develop good business skills and they want to be a winner, well, the nice guy is not going to be the winner. Okay? It's going to be the ruthless one. I learned that the hard way. I'm ruthless today. Okay? But if you check any of our billionaires, each and every one of them were ruthless. John Rockefeller, Carnegie, Andrew Carnegie, whatever his name was. All right? Any of our major families, they were ruthless in business. So let's get off our high horses about all this other crap. And let's be honest about talking about this subject of being successful and what it takes. Okay? Most people will not be. And the reason they won't be is because they are basically lazy. Would you agree with that fact? No, you won't. Because, see, I'm not a coach. I'm not looking to make money from none of you people. Okay, so you're going to hear the truth. You might not like it. You might edit this out. I don't really care today. All right? Because it's time that people start learning the truth about business, what it takes to be successful. Let's get out of this mindset. Okay? I've been on Clubhouse. I watch these rooms with mindset. Okay? And they're following con men. Just like Napoleon Hill. I see a guy mimicking Napoleon Hill to the T. To the T. And I see people giving them money. Damn it, I've conned people a lot of shit in my life. I was good. But at least I'd walk away from you. You'd be happy I took your money. Okay? But I never took money from nobody who could not afford it.
Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Los Angeles Tribune. We're raw, we're real, we're unfiltered, unscripted, and that's the way we like it here. And with that, we'll return back to you, Mr. Ori Spado. I appreciate you returning for more of your unique perspective on this. And let's go straight in the middle to Michelle McLean. Michelle, welcome back, of course. And Michelle, what does it take to be successful in today's business climate, number one? And before you get into that, give a brief intro of the work that you do. Michelle, floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So I am a health and wellness entrepreneur, and I have 3 main pillars I work with: the health of the body, detoxing and rebuilding it. I do a lot of the emotional and mental work as well. And then I tap into the spiritual side as well. So kind of encompassing a lot of different modalities under my umbrella, but that's the general. And so I would say a big key to any success in leadership would be integrity with our word, integrity with what it is we're looking to create. I'm really big on the peace of my soul when I go to bed. That what I'm doing throughout the day, if I'm at peace with that. A lot of us speak one thing and then live another thing. And I really believe that the blessing and the miracles come from building an integrity, not building on a foundation of sand, but building strong on a foundation that you're proud of to look back on. and to know you built something solid, right? And that's when you can have something that lasts for building even generational wealth. You can have a business that withstands for, for years and years and years. So integrity in all areas, building strong, it builds that confidence, and it just allows it to pour into all the other areas, being your word, being who you say you are, and living what it is that you preach.
Brilliant, and thank you for stating that in such an eloquent way, Michelle. Looking forward to revisiting with you. Let's go now to Ashkan Tabibnia, a gentleman who, of course, means a tremendous amount to the Los Angeles Tribune. Him and his company have been strategic partners with us for quite some time now. Mr. Ashkan, please, the floor is yours. Share a little bit about all the wonderful work that 90210 Network is doing. 9021 Network not only does things for the community of Los Angeles, it's also a pillar of business in Beverly Hills and in different parts of LA. And also, please speak a little bit about what your personal opinion is on what it really takes to be successful in business. Please, Mr. Ashkan Tabibnia, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. With Josh coming with authenticity, grit from Mr. DeWall, and Ori with being relentless and being honest, being ruthless, right? And Michelle having integrity. Leadership is really is a skill that cannot be mastered. It's a skill that you just develop, and there's no dimension. You just like all the things they said is important. With my company, 90210 Net, we decided to just make it not for everyone, so we can take our resources and being authentic and with how they said be relentless and bring a life-changing experience to people who want it and take them to the next level. So with that, my comments are being of service. Not worrying about how much is it you want to charge the next person that Mo gonna introduce to you, or maybe Ori. Just be yourself of everything that they said and just serve. Give them 120%. And also to be able to listen to what's going on out there and your clients and your partners. And number 3, education, ongoing education. You make yourself well versed with millennials, Z, X generation that are dominating the social aspect. Old school, of course, we can always come and so it's 3 things, right? From my view, be of service, learn to listen, and when it means learn to listen, means you listen, no comments, take it in, and education. And I want to say thank you for Mo, because you really exemplify everything they talked about with Dr. Natalie, the soul of LA Tribune. For me to be here tonight, look, guys, I'm trying to keep my energy down because I want to get to know everyone here and have an amazing night. It's all about leadership.
We absolutely are going to have an amazing leadership. And Ashkan, considering all of the work that you do in philanthropy, considering all the work you do as an activist and as a pillar of the community, we thank you and we honor all of the remarkable work that you do with 9021 Network. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think that Ashkan Tabibnia is the honorary mayor of Beverly Hills. If people know about all the work that he does in Beverly Hills, all the work that he does in the community, he does more work. He does more work for the community of Beverly Hills than the actual mayor. Okay, in my opinion. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and now, last but not least, go to a gentleman who you guys are going to be seeing a lot more of here in this community. That is, of course, Saji. Saji, of course, is the CEO of the U.S. Business Council, a strategic partner of our work that we're doing here. And I'm excited, Saji, to have you here with us. Talk a little bit about some of the work that the U.S. Business Council has been doing in the United States, and a little bit about you. And what does it really take to be successful in business? The floor is yours.
I'll make the first part real short because you don't want to give the open mic to a lawyer to speak like that. But I'll say U.S. Business Council, we are general counsel for growing businesses. We help businesses grow from one phase to the next. I'm an attorney that's a relatable guy who understands the inner game of the business. That's why I'm here with you guys, because you guys are business people, inspirational entrepreneurs. And that's relates to the second question that you're asking everybody here. I love what Ori said about relentlessness, but I also love what everyone else is saying too. When Michelle leaned in with purpose, I think there's something about that too, of having that belief system when any entrepreneur starts out, there's a mission behind their why, right? And I think that at a time like this, an interval like this, at this particular time, we'll never get another reset like this to revisit that why. So having the clarity of purpose, I think, is what I would say the one thing that's really instrumental as to why we started as a business and where the business is going for the next 10 years or whatever the future is. That relentlessness, oftentimes, to Ori's point though, is synonymous with the negative connotation. It doesn't have to be. There's a great book by Tim Burrows. I can't remember his last name. No, it's called Grover, called Relentlessness, and it's from good to great and beyond. I think it's a fantastic book because it profiles his work, not as a business coach, but as a hustler, if you will, but in the strongest, clearest sense with professional athletes, people that we know and don't know. And about that grit, also that we've all talked about too. So it all wraps together in, I think, purpose of clarity.
Clarity of purpose. Now, I want to circle back to Josh. Appreciate you, Saji. Want to circle back to Josh. Josh, how can we be relentless and compassionate? And I want us all to discuss this distinction for the next few minutes, because as Ori stepped in and introduced a particular way of thinking, which is basically go out, make it happen. He used the word ruthless. But how can we be relentless and still be in a place of compassion? Can we do it? Can we combine the empathy that Josh Payne spoke of and mix it with a ruthlessness? And where do we as leaders find the ability to harness integrity and empathy and still make sure that in a highly competitive world order that we're all in, we're able to make a dent? Josh, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this first. Josh Payne.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Mo, and just incredible answers. Wow, what an amazing group of people on this panel. And I think by nature, if you are a do-it-first leader, I think an entrepreneur by nature is a do-it-first leader. That's how business is built. And when you're a do-it-first leader, unlike say somebody in particular in a corporation that may have a title in a job, when you're a do-it-first leader, the relentlessness that Saji talked about is absolutely a positive thing. That's how it gets built. And when you're also combine that with an element of what I like to call, that was taught to me from a mentor of mine, pushing up people, right? And finding great things every day that people are doing well. And the perspective of recognizing and rewarding the behaviors that are success behaviors creates an environment where people are open. And then from an empathy standpoint, it just simply means that you take the time to listen, like I think Ashkan was saying, listen and put yourself in their shoes and understand where they're at, and then say, follow me. I'll show you how to get there. I'll show you where we're not directing them to go do this. It's follow me. I'll show you how to get there. And I think that that's where we can take this relentless nature of being the driver of success and growth, and then also recognizing the great behavior when the team follows.
Incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Natalie, did you have thoughts on this?
No. I just love how everything flows together. And Josh, you so nicely put so many things in perspective. I did want to briefly, if I may, just point out that some of our audience members have been questioning whether or have been stating that relentless does not necessarily mean bad or not nice. So what are the thoughts on that? Can you be relentless? Can you be ruthless and still of service and a good person? And I know, Mr. Spado, that you are absolutely also of service. So just wanted to point out that is something that is in the audience coming up. Any thoughts on that? Maybe I'll go to the middle, to the nice lady in the middle, because she's the only other female in the room. Okay, just pointing that out. Michelle, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, 100%. Especially speaking from a standpoint that I had just been fired from my job when I initially started my business. And I had to have that relentlessness. And it's like a relentless, don't care if you say no, I'm going to get what I came here to get, no matter what. So if it's not from you, I'll find the next person. Like just having that, like, I'm going to find it no matter what. It's having that I don't care attitude. Oh, you don't like it? Cool. Next. Okay, you don't like it either? Cool. Next. Really, it's just like, going through the numbers until you find the people who value what you value, because that's what I believe it comes down to, is finding the people who are meant to build with you, who are meant to be on your path, on your journey, and seeking until, there's no like, I'll try it till I get to this point. It's literally like deciding in your mind, no matter what, stable, like it's going down, it's going to happen. And just, that's, in my opinion, that's what relentlessness is. It is not taking no, it's continue until, and it's building no matter what.
Let's go back up to Duvall. Duvall, relentlessness and empathy. How can the two go hand in hand to build a successful business and a successful leader? The floor is yours.
Absolutely. I think they totally go hand in hand, because an entrepreneur, if you're running your own business, you have to be able to work with people. You have to be able to connect with people. And that's where, that empathy really comes in. And the relentlessness is wanting to solve the problem. So if the first person you talk to doesn't have that problem, like Michelle was saying just a minute ago, then move on to the second person, third person. But find that person that really needs your help, that needs the solution that you can provide, and then take it from there. So I think both of these skill sets definitely go hand in hand. And an entrepreneur absolutely needs to be relentless in finding people with that problem, wanting to solve that problem, developing that solution. But the empathy piece is really caring about those people and wanting to help them. That's, to me, it's two sides of the same coin.
Fascinating. Let's go to Saji, because Saji brought up a very interesting book that he cited that actually got us going into this subcategory of this conversation. So Saji, how can a leader have empathy, practice empathy, put themselves in the shoes of other people, but still have the relentlessness that's required to make a dent in today's competitive marketplace, where people are no longer competing with the folks down the street? You're competing with the folks on the other side of the planet, as we head towards this world order where things are getting, more and more international and competitive. Saji, please. Then we'll hear from Mr. Ori Spado. Ashkan just makes me smile whenever he smiles, if you're wondering why I smile. Saji, please.
I love going before Ori, because I'm warming it up for Ori here. I'll say this, is that first, I was remiss in not saying this. You guys are amazing. It's a great panel, and thanks for having me for the first time here to join you guys. I hear this theme, and here's one of the quotes from Tim, as if I know him. Tim's book. It was, crave the result so intensely that the work is irrelevant. And I share that because to be that intense about something, have a mission and a purpose. If you remember what I said at the beginning, I said I'm a relatable lawyer who's accessible, which already doesn't sound like a typical lawyer, but to me, that's my passion, and that's my way of relating to my constituents, my clients. That's my empathy. That's me listening to what I also said, the inner game of a business owner. So that's an empathy that I always have, and I'll protect that and build upon that as the firm grows. So that's how you do it, is you stay close to your mission, stay close to, like Michelle says, your heart and your ethics. They're not diametrically opposed at all. In fact, we put layers, I think, in society, this is probably a different discussion, of empathy being a weakness, and it's either or. It's not either side of the spectrum. I think today, especially in a more inclusive, dare I say holistic, but a very comprehensive approach to business and leadership and growth mindset, you have to be empathetic, listen to your light within, so that you can light without or outside to it in your team and your constituents.
Well, let's go ahead and go back to Ori Spado. Ori, now what we know about you, and if you actually read this remarkable book, The Accidental Gangster, which is a 2-time best-selling book, at the end, you state, Ori, in a lovely letter that you wrote, that your intention is for people to join hands, hold each other's hands, and make the world a better place. So if you read this book, you know exactly what Ori Spado stands for. I mean, Ori Spado recently spoke at a charity event a couple of weeks ago. He speaks all the time about helping the youth stay away and stay out of a life of crime. So I want to give the floor back to Ori. Ori, how can we be empathetic and sensitive to the suffering of humanity, but still have the relentlessness to make things happen? The floor is yours. How do we do it, Ori? The floor is yours. And let's go ahead and unmute you first, Ori. We can now hear you. Go ahead, Ori. You're unmuted. The floor is yours.
Every situation is different. You know, having empathy for somebody is one thing, okay? But to be successful in business, now let's get back to that there, okay? You have to be able to sacrifice things. But as Josh said, you need to be a leader, okay? And Napoleon Hill led his troops into battle. And that's what you have to do if you're in business. You got to lead from the front. Never ask somebody to do something that you have not done. Because you're going to be asking for failure if you do that there. So you should be able to know every function, everything is going on, whatever departments you got going, who's in charge of that department. It takes an awful lot to run a multi-million-dollar business, let alone billion-dollar businesses. And look, in today's world, it's no longer the million-dollar businesses, okay? People should be thinking about how to build a billion-dollar business. Now, maybe I just put my sight too high. Okay, maybe I think more than the average person does. But
Very
most
interesting
people,
points. Very interesting points. Thank you, Ori. Awesome points. And we have a comment here regarding your book. Somebody wrote, Ori Spado's letters to the family show his nice side. Clearly somebody that has read your book that really shows the heart of Ori Spado more than anything else. And with that, let's go to the mayor of Beverly Hills, Mr. Ashkan Tabibnia. And of course, I call Ashkan the mayor of Beverly Hills because of all the work that he does in the community of Beverly Hills. In my opinion, he does more for the community than the actual mayor. And if the mayor is listening, we're happy to bring you on and we'll do a debate with you and Ashkan and figure it out. I'm totally okay with that. Mr. Ashkan, as somebody who has had such a successful career, and as somebody, and I know you personally,
if he was the mayor of Beverly Hills, I would not be on there.
Well, don't worry, we won't bring him on.
Listen, I have a surprise for Ori, which I'm going to do it in the last 5 minutes of the show.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the surprise, so stick around, folks, for that surprise. But Ashkan, how do we do both?
Yeah.
How are we relentless and compassionate and empathetic?
You know, what they have already diversely showcased, it's really, really good. But it's really about, it's us when you're an entrepreneur and about the people that you serve. So when you're clear in your goal, your target, your results, you have to be relentless in the way you run your service, your product, and the parameters and the boundaries that you set to deliver the service or the product or what you do for others. I like what Ori said, do not even try to do or help anybody if the thing that you have not done or you have not mastered it. There are so many experts in the world. We can be relentless because of our education or our background or because of our challenges or because of a book we wrote. If you have acquired a certain wisdom, then we can be relentless in that boundary to have others help them if they are after that result to get them to the result or the goal. And then you be relentless. You're not going to be nice. You're going to be ruthless if they came to you as the expert. But in reverse, when you're so clear in your result, in your drive, in your product, when it comes to the clients, you have to be absolutely the opposite. You have to have so much compassion. You have to have so much understanding, because they come to you sometimes they're vulnerable. They trust you. And when you kind of mix the two, relentless when it comes to you, and you have compassion for them, it's like Kabbalah. There's so much love you can give to people. If they're not ready for it, they're gonna go like practically go what? Why the guy is treating like? Because you give them certain love that they cannot handle. So you mix it with strength, restraint, and it's always a perfect balance infusion of the two. So I always look at it, whenever you want to do anything in entrepreneurship, in servitude, or whether it's training, always look in the mirror first. Make sure at least mastery it's really something is not measured. It's because of people's how they have reached a certain thing, because of their background, family, education, training, and so much more. Always look in the mirror. Be impeccable with yourself. Be relentless, ruthless with how you are. But when it comes to others, be like water. Have so much empathy and love. Why? So they can continue being vulnerable, so you guys can take them to that result that they are after.
Absolutely incredible, Ashkan, and thank you for sharing that. I'm a huge fan of the Kabbalah and
of course, you guys got me so excited.
I know you get me excited too. The tree of life and the Kabbalah is very powerful. Hard to believe, ladies and gentlemen, we're already at the halfway point of today's program. So let's take a 1-minute stretch break. Then we'll come right back. Hold on, Ori. We will come right back after this quick break.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We've earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
I know that Orlando Spino has something that he wants to share before we go there, because I know Ori, one thing about Ori is when he has something to say, he will say it, and that's why we love and appreciate him. But let's go, Dr. Natalie, quick recap, Dr. Natalie Forrest. What has the first half of this program meant for you? What are some insights that you've garnered thus far? Dr. Natalie Forrest.
Well, I think I'm thinking right now, because I keep hearing relentless, I keep hearing ruthless, I keep hearing nice, I keep hearing empathic, and then I hear authentic. And all the while I'm thinking feminine leadership means we collaborate. So I'm like a little taken aback by the constant view about competition, because, and this is the little caveat to it, because I honestly believe that one of the most important traits that we can have as business owners is that we only compete with ourselves and nobody else. So, because once you have a vision, you're out there to do it regardless of anybody else. But I love the conversation because everybody is so well read and brings so much experience to the table that I feel the energy in this room right now is really sharing information and being of true service to one another as well as to the audience. And that's what I'm feeling, and that's what I'm inspired by.
Thank you for that, Dr. Natalie Forrest. And with that, I know everyone is very excited and patiently waiting for what Ori wanted to say before our break. Orlando Spino or Orlando Spato, depending on whether you're in Italy or the US, you've been called many things, Ori. And so let's go ahead and give you the floor, because I'm curious. I'm ready. I've got my pencil, Ori. I'm ready to take down some notes. The floor is yours.
You ready to take down notes? Take down this note. Ashkan, are you taking a note? I want you to run for mayor so that I could smoke legally in my own apartment.
There we go. Well, I'm excited for that proposal. Ori, regarding this subject matter, do you have anything you want to contribute?
I'd like to. No, look at that. I think I'm the one who brought up being relentless. Okay,
Yes.
You got to be tenacious. You got to eat it, drink it, sleep it, put your feet on the floor in the morning and know what your goals are and go out and do it. Okay,
Beautiful.
There is nothing stopping you but yourself.
You know, Natalie, you talk about this distinction between collaborative and ruthless or relentless, etc. And I think that from my point of view, the relentlessness must be the internal relentlessness, right? Not necessarily the external way of looking at it. And what I mean by that is exactly what you said. You see, I believe that the only competition that we have is between our disciplined and undisciplined self. And as business owners and entrepreneurs, we must remember that on a daily basis. And, you know, I'm so excited because we have so many leaders, not only on this panel, but even watching. We see Mrs. Zahara Joy, who's a remarkable leader in her own right, and we're going to send an invitation to have her join us very soon here as well. But with that, I want to go back to Josh. Josh, I can tell by your body language that you've been holding in so many remarkable gems of wisdom. Then we'll go to Deval when you're finished. Josh, where are you right now with regard to the thoughts of this conversation? The floor is yours.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, I so much appreciate what Saji brought up with the book Relentless and Tim Grover's approach to that, and it's something that I've taught for so long. You know, I'll talk to people and they'll say, "Man, Josh, I'm just trying to find what my passion is. I'm trying to find what my purpose is in life, and what's going to make me happy." And people tell me if I do something that I love doing, I'll never work a day in my life. And it's like, look, how about this? How about we figure out what our goals are? How about we figure out what we want, what our end result is? And like Saji said from the book, we get so intensely focused on that end result that the work it takes to get there becomes irrelevant. And when we talk about the relentless side and the collaborative side and the competitive side, you know, brings up an interesting thing, because if you look, as it speaks directly to that book, when you look at the two sort of examples that are used, Michael Jordan, Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's coach for 15 years, and the book is a lot about that. But Michael Jordan was not a fun teammate to play with. In fact, most people will say he was the biggest jerk they ever played with, but he lifted everybody up to levels that nobody else did. He's just sucked everybody up with him. So it wasn't that he was necessarily this big collaborative, hey, let's go have this big team environment. He was, look, here's the expectation. I'm going to lead and compete at a level that's going to be so high and such high expectation that I'm going to suck everybody up in the environment along with me, and we're going to perform at levels that have never been performed at before. And that's kind of the interesting dichotomy of that collaborative versus very competitive, and then just being that great leader out in front, sucking everybody else up with you.
You know, it's incredible, Josh. They said the same thing about Steve Jobs, whereas so many people had a tough time working with him, and yet look at the impact that he made. I want to give the floor to Deval. Deval, your thoughts on where we are with this conversation. The floor is yours.
No, I agree completely that when you are starting out and when you are trying to communicate, you have to be ruthless. You have to sort of guide everybody up. But while everyone is talking about communicating, I was thinking about one of the books I've read, How to Win Friends and Influence Others by Dale Carnegie. It's a fantastic book. It's probably about 80 years old by now, but it really captures how entrepreneurs need to communicate with people they're working with. It could be their employees, it could be their customers, it could be potential competitors. But how do you communicate correctly with everyone? I think that's an extremely important skill set that every entrepreneur needs to perfect before they go out in the world and start conquering, their hill. So learning how to communicate correctly, I think, is one of the key things that also ties all of these loose ends together.
Incredible. Saji, let's go back to you. And one thing I know about the U.S. Business Council is when it comes to the U.S. Business Council, communication and collaboration is a big pillar of it. And not only the U.S. Business Council, but also all the strategic partners have made massive dents in the world of business. I mean, some of the titans of certain industries work with you, Saji, and anyone that knows about the U.S. Business Council knows that to be true. So I'd love to give you the floor to hear more about your thoughts on where we are with this conversation, since you got the ball rolling so much. Saji, the floor is yours.
That are robust and engaging. It's an evolving conversation. Sort of, it's dynamic and it morphs into what it is. I take the baton now, but I'm taking it from everyone here. We're all arriving now at this concept of relentlessness, and the fact that it doesn't have to be in the competitive sense, me or the other guy necessarily. It's me and the battle from within, and also my team. You make a great point too, Mo, about the Steve Jobs analogy, and Josh about Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant for that matter too. People who are leaders on their team may not be popular, but they're true to their mission. And I think that's the thing. We're not probably going to be advising. I don't advise any sports figures at all. I advise business leaders for moving from one stage to the next, navigating the hurdles, and keeping their eye on the prize. So with that, you can call it soft skills, if you will. You have to understand the inner game. You have to understand your team. You have to have empathy. You have to have all those things. But again, I think purpose and clarity of purpose. I'll stick with what I started with. I think that in itself comprises what we're talking about: the hard skills, the soft skills, and what it takes to go to the next level. And I think I want to also mention one thing that I think Ashkan said before, that ability to listen. Once we get to a certain stage in our career, and Ori's probably a great example. He has a storied career. He's achieved so much, but he's probably one of the quietest people here. He'll speak when he's asked to speak, but he's listening intently. So you're always learning. I think if you're always learning as a leader, you're always positioned for growth and for the next level. So these are all a composite of things that I think any good leader needs to have.
You know, Saji, you're absolutely right. And Dr. Natalie Forrest made an interesting point talking about this whole idea of, feminine leader, masculine leader, and how we suddenly started talking about ruthlessness and relentlessness. I want to make sure that Michelle McLean has an opportunity to chime in, seeing that she is the only female here on the panel. And one thing I know about Michelle is literally yesterday, she adopted a beautiful, precious little injured bird from the street, and she cared for it and nurtured it. And so when it comes to being heart-centered, we know that Michelle McLean is a very sweet human being, as far as taking in wildlife, nurturing it, protecting it. And so, Michelle, another fact about you, though, is you're also very much a businesswoman. You have a very successful business. And so how do you contrast these two? Is there a contrast? Please, we would love to hear your thoughts. The floor is yours.
So thank you for bringing up my bird, who sadly actually died this morning. I was really sad. I know. It wasn't meant to be. I wasn't meant to be a bird mom, apparently. I don't know. So, yeah, I love that you bring that up, because there's a huge part of me that I'm very spiritually connected and spiritually in tune, and we're driven out of our belief system. And so that's something I'm really, really clear on, or what exactly I believe, and knowing that we can change our belief system at any time, right? So it's looking at our beliefs, and are they serving who we want to become and who we are becoming? And so one of the beliefs that I've have been one of my guiding beliefs have been, it's a scripture: before you were born, I created you for a special work. So, and I'm actually gonna get that tattooed on me, but that's been a guiding light for me, is reminding myself that I'm supposed to look different. I'm supposed to be creating what I'm creating on the earth different. It's not in competition with anything else, because there is no one else that compares to me. There is no other Michelle McLean. There is no, and even the belief, a lot of people have beliefs of I'm not enough. But I would have to challenge that and say, compared to what?
Exactly.
You're not compared enough compared to who, right? Because it's like, you're compared, Mo, there's only one Mo, right? There's no comparison. So are you enough for the Mo? You are the Mo, right? So I go back to, it's all about beliefs and being able to be driven by a higher purpose, in my opinion. And then lastly, I would add being kind and being direct. That's something a skill, especially as a woman, that I'd advise anyone to take on, is being kind and being direct. Because a lot of times we want to skirt around things, and it's such a waste of time when you can just get to the point, but be kind about it, right? Because there were times I wanted to be I thought it would help me to be like more aggressive as a female or something like that. And it wasn't true. But I did find it served a lot to be kind and then just be very direct about what I'm wanting to communicate, what I'm here for. So
absolutely incredible. Thank you for that contribution. And may that lovely bird rest in peace. I know that the bird felt love as it was transitioning back into Mother Earth. So what a beautiful story and a beautiful message. With that, ladies and gentlemen, hard to believe we're in the last 15 minutes of this program. So we are about to enter the rapid fire stage where every single person gets an opportunity to share their closing thoughts for a few minutes, and you have the whole screen to share whatever's in your mind, whatever's in your heart. You can take as long as you need, as long as we're within the confines of this time. But before we get into that, quick reminder, we have several different shows that are launching here on the LA Tribune TV program, TV network. Of course, Dr. Laura has a program launching very soon, who's a Harvard-trained medical physician who is going to be giving access to the community here of not just Southern California, but the world. The trainer and well-known author Rex Sykes recently had a remarkable episode with Barry Shore. We recommend everybody check it out. His show is on Thursday. And of course, my lovely co-host and the VP of the Los Angeles Tribune, Dr. Natalie Forrest, has a solo program because she got sick and tired of doing everything with me on the air. She decided to run off and do her own show, which is okay. I don't take it personal, but that show is also launching this week as well on Wednesday. So I'm very pumped up, very excited for all those programs, and please stay tuned for that. And with that, let's go ahead and start the final closing statements of all of our lovely guest speakers, where you have the full floor for as long as you want to close us out. Let's start with Josh Payne. Josh Payne, the final thoughts are with you.
Well, I just want to start off by thanking everybody today. It's been such a pleasure listening to such great perspective from everybody on the panel. Mo, thank you. Dr. Natalie Forrest, thank you so much. It's just been a real honor. And I think that with leadership, I love what Maxwell says. Leadership is influence, nothing less, nothing more. And the quality of the leader is pretty identifiable by the number of people following them. And he says that a leader without any followers is merely out for a walk, right? And so I look and leader, the essence of leadership to me is vision. What is your vision, right? Without a vision, the people perish, but there's a second part to that. Without the people, the vision perishes. So a great leader has a great group of people behind them that is able to lead and elevate those around them towards a shared vision to do something absolutely extraordinary in life. And if anybody's listening out there that is new to leadership, I love this saying, and that is that nobody wants to follow a dull, disillusioned, frustrated, daggone crybaby. Be relentless, be focused on those end goals, be somebody of purpose and passion and true. I love what Saji said when he said, what did he say? Leaders may not be popular, but they're true to their mission. Be true to yourself, serve others unconditionally, and let's go change the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Josh. My producer just whispered in my ear that there's a couple other quick announcements that we want to make. Of course, we have a unique program with Dr. Bill Janishek and Goldilocks, which brings together comedy and education. And so new episodes of this are also launching very soon, as well as the Better Business Show, which of course featured among so many incredible guests, Sharon Lecter, who's a friend of ours here at the LA Tribune and co-author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And with that, let's go ahead and give the final statements and final words to Deval. Deval, of course, we're going to give you the floor. Take as long as you like to share your final thoughts. Solo layout is yours.
Thank you very much, Mo. And I really appreciate you and Dr. Forrest for, again, hosting this amazing panel. I have about a page and a half of notes from this panel. So, again, fantastic information, real gems that people have shared. So make sure you listen to the recording if you've missed any of those notes. But having said all of that, what I want to encourage you is to become a leader. We have so many issues, so many problems in the world today. We need more leaders. So if you're listening, step up. We need you. The world needs you, and we need your skills. Having said that, how can you step up? How can you step into that business leadership role? The biggest thing is listen to events like these. Mo and LA Tribune are doing some fantastic work. You can listen to a lot of other lectures. You can follow us. There are plenty of books that we mentioned throughout this broadcast, so make sure you read those books as well. And the biggest thing you can do is just get in the ring. Step into that role, and as you sort of gain experience, you'll learn the skills that you need and how to actually move around that space. And that experience is absolutely priceless. So what we need you to do is just step up, get started, and once you do, there will be plenty of people to sort of guide you in that journey. But we need you, so hope you can join us.
Thank you so much, Deval, and of course the lovely virtual auditorium reminded us. I mean, we have so many different lovely people here at the LA Tribune that we would just be listing them all day long. But of course, Jeremy McDonald does have a new episode launching this week as well on our network. Just want to make sure that we don't miss anybody. And if I did miss you, then we will certainly get you next time. And with that, I want to give the floor to Ashkan Tabibnian. Closing statements, the floor is yours.
It's such a broad subject because leadership, it's really an art that all of these magnificent leaders have expressed themselves. What I want to say, even leaders themselves, what we need to do is take an inventory. Every quarter, look at our team that are really in charge of our relentless vision and boundaries that we have set and what we want to teach others. Are they the right team? Partners, alliances, right? It's very important to kind of take an inventory and making sure that people who are there with you, whether they're in charge of half of or here, look at Mo. He decided to bring Dr.Natalie because they probably share about 90% of the vision in leadership. So it's very important to take an inventory of your tribe. The people have to deliver the goals and the result of your company. The tools that you use in your business are essential. There are so many apps and communication platforms, social platforms that are available to you. You need to make sure that because of efficiency and lack of time and so many out there to help with your vision and your message, you have to make sure you always upgrade it. Sometimes we really get used to what we do, the way we do. It's very important to be flexible. And the way you promote yourself, right, with your friends, with people who are close to you, your inner circle and out there is very important. And also, you always have to make sure that you have a way of I call it like academy of always teaching others what you have mastered and also being willing to learn what other people mastered, right? And don't ever hold back your access, your contacts, and your resources. A good example to kind of sum this up for you guys would be Los Angeles Tribune. I saw the 1 minute ad, and it talked about what we're talking here tonight, authenticity. Leadership was in there. 1860, and now what we are 2020, 180 years later, we can take the tools, coaches, everything that's available to you guys, whether you're a leader that you want to step up and grow your platform, or maybe you're a born leader today. You're going to quit that job and you say, I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to know what my life mission is and to deliver. Tonight was about business leadership. And as long as you connect, listen, these people here are available. Josh Payne, I know him from another program. Ori here. What you need to do is take a name that touched you, maybe area of your business, maybe it was a vision, maybe it was a goal, maybe it was a target setting, and follow up and get with them. Even if you have to hire them and get to your next destination as a leader or as a newborn leader today.
Thank you so much. And I'm very excited because the Los Angeles Tribune and the 90210 Network, which is a pillar of Beverly Hills and Los Angeles, have some big announcements coming soon. With that, let's go to Mr. Ori Spado. Speaking of Beverly Hills, Ori Spado is a longtime Beverly Hills resident. In fact, the very opening chapter of this book talks about when federal agents arrived at his Beverly Hills home. And boy, is this book a unique and entertaining and educational book, which I don't know why everyone's smiling. That wasn't a joke. But it's all good. Ori Spado, that's a unique journey for sure. Mr. Orlando Spado, we're going to give you the floor. I'm excited to hear final words from you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody. It's been a great opportunity to be with all of you. I'm 76 years old. I'm not building a business today. I have taken a new path, a new vision I have is what I want to do to help the youth of this country. I'm becoming a leader for many groups and helping youth stay out of crime, go to college, find a trade. I teach them how to be happy with something they're doing to be successful in life. And for any of you parents out there, if you have a child you'd like me to talk to, please, you can contact me, okay? And for any of you youth out there, trust me, I'm a well-known gangster. It's not a winning situation. I can help you. You don't want to go there. And that's all I can say. That's what my mission is today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ori Spado. And part of the reason that we love having Ori Spado on this platform is because gang violence is running rampant in the city of Los Angeles. And we need former gangsters like Ori Spado to have a platform so we can lower the number of deaths and sad stories that happen due to so many different things in the underworld. With that, we're going to continue with giving everyone an opportunity to give their final words. I believe we have Michelle and Saji left. Let's go ahead and go with Saji. And then we will have Michelle close out the program. Saji, the floor is yours for your final statements.
I was just so taken by what Ori said there, because I think that relates to what Dr. Natalie said too, the idea of service. You know, all of us are saying the same thing too on service. So thank you, Ori, and I mentioned that in the chat here too. That's when I say leaning in an organization to your purpose and having that clarity of purpose, the why, which I said at the very beginning too. And then living that why through the wherever the season is in your career, as Ori just illustrated. Deval talked about Dale Carnegie and the idea of there's a book, I think, Stop Worrying and Start Living. That's the concept. What he's talking about is just get started. The start of steroid, you get started, and they have the consultants with them to help you go from the first earliest stage to the next. So I would just say that clarity of purpose is what I started with, and I think that is very important. As Ashkan says, you have to continually visit and revisit those goals because they change. You know, there's a saying that, you know, if a ship leaves a harbor and it's 1 degree off, it ends up being X number of miles off when it reaches a destination because it misses the destination by X number of miles. So that incremental change, you don't recognize necessarily yourself. You have to have a good team around you that helps keep you aligned and keep you aligned with your purpose. So I think that clarity of purpose is important. And I think empathy, as we stressed as well. But having that team, like the team that's here today, help you along the way is of utmost importance to get from one stage to the next and navigate the hurdles and barriers before you.
Thank you so much, Saji. And I want to quickly just plug that the U.S. Business Council, along with the Los Angeles Tribune, are coming together to do something very uplifting for the entrepreneurship community, not only in Southern California, but of the whole world. So I'm very excited to also make that announcement very soon. And with that, we want to give our final guest the opportunity to speak. Please take as long as you want. You're the only female here representing, about half of the world. So I think that it's only fair to give you as much time as you need to express your thoughts and your beliefs. Miss Michelle, please, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. No pressure, right? I'm just representing half of the world here. So, well, first, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure to be, sharing the space with you guys. Something that we haven't really tapped on, I would say, would be self-mastery. mastering the relationship we have with ourselves, fueling ourselves, because we can't give what we don't have, right? If we're empty on the inside, we're torn on the inside, we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not drinking our water, we don't have the energy. How much are we able to give? How much are we able to provide? What value do we have left when where our tank is on E? So I always say, mastering your relationship with yourself, starting with your morning routine is huge. Filling your cup, because you can't pour from an empty cup, and really working on that, because with the relationship you have with you, everything else stems up from that relationship. Every single relationship, and you can't have success in business without relationships. We need people. I forgot who it was, might have been Josh earlier, that was talking about, like, we need people. You need your team of people to fulfill the vision. So filling up first, to where when you go into any meeting, you're a powerhouse. You're healthy, you feel energized, you feel ready to rock and roll. You're not depleted and looking for everyone else's energy and validation. That's where that needy energy comes from, is from not filling up our cup. It's putting your mask on first, so that then you can help other people. So with that,
beautiful. Thank you so much, Michelle. And of course, before I do a recap with Dr. Natalie, I know that Ashkan earlier talked about a surprise that he had for Orlando Spado, Ori Spado, Ori Spado, Orlando Spado. So many different pronunciations, but only one man. Mr. Ashkan, what is your surprise for Ori? I'm curious. We can't see that, sir.
Oh, good. I was invited to an amazing, elaborate experience by Myron Sugarman. And Myron Sugarman, Ori maybe remembers, also was a, in the line of business, or like you were before, and he wrote a book. So he was with all the mafia back in New York. And I met him in person, and now he's sharing his life, like Ori, to help people. So what I'm gonna do, this is a big guy, by the way. I'm gonna connect the two. So guess what, Mo, you're gonna have to interview.
Ashkan, we want to. Not everything needs to happen in front of the camera, my dear brother. We'll take care of that. We'll take care of that behind the scenes, and we'll make it happen. We don't need to discuss it right here on this public forum. But don't worry,
that's his surprise. They look alike.
Mo has permission to give you my phone number. Okay, we're probably neighbors.
You guys are neighbors, as a matter of fact. But with that being said, Dr. Natalie, quick recap. What are your thoughts on this week's episode before we finish out?
I can't help it. You just said Michelle was the only woman here, and I'm wondering what I am.
On the panel, not in the program. Don't take me out of context. On the panel.
I have. That's what I live for. I think that this panel was amazingly powerful, because again, so many nuggets. We have all taken notes. The one thing that again, Michelle, you said it earlier. You mentioned, sometimes we might want to be more fierce, and there still is a difference on whether or not a woman is more fierce or ruthless or relentless, or whether a man is. And I think what this panel, to me at least, has achieved is shed some more light on what those words mean, and possibly take a little bit of that negative association away from those terms. Because if we look up ruthless and relentless in the dictionary, I don't want to go there. However, the way that everybody explained it is much more connected to be honest with yourself, be straight with yourself, be in integrity with yourself, be in an integrity with others, and be focused on that. So maybe instead of relentless and ruthless, it's be focused and be honest. And then everybody was pointing out, you have empathy, you need to listen to others. And so I think we've been able to shed more positive and empathic light on the word ruthless and on the word relentless. And I think that's really, really important. And I am beyond grateful for that.
Incredible. Thank you so much. I want to thank every panelist up here for graciously contributing to this remarkable conversation and to this program. I want to thank everyone in the virtual auditorium, and of course, our friends at Roku TV. This has been a production of the Los Angeles Tribune. Until next week, we appreciate you, and we'll see you then.
Thank you, Mo.
Bye.